Janet Yellen says we broke. Joe Biden said we good. Somebody lying. Somebody lying. Janet Yellen says we're broke. Joe Biden say we good. I say somebody lying. So we're going to talk about right now the debt limit. So January 19th, the U.S. hit its debt limit, meaning January 19th, America could no longer borrow any more money. They can't borrow no more money. That's it. You maxed out. Maxed out. Now, because the U.S. runs a budget deficit, it must borrow huge sums of money to pay its bills. Now, here's what's important I want you to understand. What are the bills that America has to pay? Now, because they borrow money, and America runs in a deficit, what has to happen is they got to borrow a lot of money. How do they borrow money? They borrow money by doing what? Giving out bonds, giving out T-bills. If you don't know how that goes, this is how it goes. Let's say I want to build a studio. The studio costs me $100,000. So what I'll do is I don't got the money, and I definitely don't want to get a loan from the bank. What I'll do is I'll say, yo, I have 10 bonds for $10,000 a piece. Now I'm going to just make up a number right here. I'm going to pay you 10% for each bond that you own. Okay? Jose says, give me 5 of them. So I give Jose gives me $50,000. George says, give me 3. Brandon says, give me 2. So George gives me $30,000. Brandon gives me $20,000. Now, every year, the bond matures in 3 years. I'm just giving a number. The bond matures in 3 years. So because the bond matures in 3 years, what happens is the first year, I give Jose $5,000. Why? Because 10% of 10% of 10,000 is what? That is a whiteboard. This is a goddamn whiteboard moment. Get the whiteboard. Goddamn. All right, so debt limit. This is how it goes. 1, January 19, limit hit. All right, so America only borrows so much money, right? The debt limit is in place, so America has to stop borrowing money. Because if you let them borrow money, they're going to just keep borrowing money. How do they borrow money? They borrow money by creating bonds. So let's put this bond thing in place. So I have $100,000. I have $100,000. I don't have the money, but I don't want to go in debt. So what do? I issue 10 bonds worth $10,000 a piece. All right? Everybody with me on that? I don't have the money. I do not have the money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue 10 bonds at $10,000 a piece. Now, watch this. This is the part that's important. 3 years at 10%. Now, again, this just made up numbers. This just made up numbers because you're not going to get no bonds at 10%. It's made up numbers. It's made up numbers for Trappin' Tuesday's sake. All right, so watch this. Let's go a little further. We got it here. $100,000, 10 bonds at 10% for 3 years. All right, Jose is greedy, so he wants 5. So that costs him $50K. George wants 3. And so because I'm not a male chauvinist, Shatora, how you spell your name? S-H-A? I'm going to just put S-H-A. That's good? Yeah, I'm got to put the ladies in. She wants some money too. Got to give her some money too. I feel bad because I gave her the lowest. I should have gave her 3 instead of 2. But George got 2. George got 3. So we'll give Shatora 2. So that means George gave me $30,000. Shatora gave me $20,000. Now watch this. Every year, for 3 years, I have to give them 10%. So George will get $5,000. Jose will get $5,000. George will get $3,000. And Shatora will get $2,000. Does that make sense to everybody? So the first year they get this. Second year, we repeat it. Third year, we repeat it. Now watch this. On the final year, watch this. I give Jose back $50K. I give George back $30K. And I give Shatora back $20K. That makes sense? Now, Because you understand this, now you get to understand this. Because America has hit its limit, it can't print these no more. It can't do it no more. This is where the issue coming in at. All right, let's go a little further. Now let's talk about the ramifications behind this. Here's the ramifications behind this. Because you can't borrow no more borrow, guess what? Fed, China, Japan, all these other countries who own U.S. debt, they have to get paid that 10%, right? Whatever those bond interest payments are, they got to get paid this. Here's the issue though. America debt is 120% of GDP. Okay, so what does this mean, Trap? That means we are 20% more in debt than the money we make as a country.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
What's good, trappers, man? It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper. Right now, I want to invite you to an amazing experience full of value. That is my community, Trappers Anonymous. It's 100% the greatest fundamental investing community on the market. Listen, your portfolio should be a masterpiece. And the only way we get you there is if we help you to learn how to invest with confidence. Now listen, I get it. Like, you don't know a lot about stocks, or maybe you've heard people say how much money they lost in stocks, but I can guarantee you, one, because they weren't in the community, and two, they lack the information. Our goal in Trappers Anonymous is to help you, really to hold your hand on the journey to becoming a confident investor, learning how to navigate through the different events that the stock market goes through to take you from panic to encouragement. There's no better time than now. This is an opportunity only for those who are willing to be on the journey. So listen, man, click the link below. Come join me in Trappers Anonymous, man. I will see you in one of our many classes, whether it's Moat Monday, whether it's the 2-hour class we do on Sunday, or whether it's just a book club. Everything is geared toward making you a better investor so you can triple your net worth and turn your last name to an asset. It's your boy, Wall Street Trapper. See you in the trap.
America is 120% debt to GDP. So that means we are 20% above what the country makes as a whole, which means we don't even produce enough money to pay them people right here. Which means...
I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
Bullshit.
I see you shining, and I can smell them with money.
You feel me? We got to pay them people, but we don't got the money to pay them people. So now what happens is, here we go again. Watch this. Because we don't got the money to pay them people, now default. Default. America defaults a trap. What happens if we default? Well, first thing that happens is this. These people got to get paid. Bondholders got to get paid first. So in order to give them something, what we got to do first? The first thing that's going to get cut. This is about to hurt y'all feelings. It's about to hurt y'all feelings. And if you go look at it, it's in the paperwork. If America doesn't, now I'm going to say this, they probably going to extend the limit. But if America doesn't pay it, if America doesn't increase the limit, June Social Security will get paid, but any payments after June aren't in the books. I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this. If America doesn't pay, they default. If you default, you now set off a global crisis. If America doesn't pay, they set off a global crisis because Japan went from $585 billion to $1 trillion of US debt that they own. China went from 101 billion to 855 billion. And then the Federal Reserve owns a few billion, right? So the Federal Reserve is the biggest. China and Japan are the biggest foreign countries that own debt of America. But check this out. Now what has to happen is America now has to cut off Social Security, because what people don't understand is Social Security inside of America is the biggest debt that America has. It's the biggest debt. That's why we talked about at the beginning, we talked about what? System failures. That's why I keep telling y'all by 2035, the people said by 2035, they're gonna slice it. Because it's the only way you cut the $32 trillion down, because it's growing. It's growing. So now the debate between the Republicans and the Democrats is this. Yes, China and Japan own the most foreign debt. The Federal Reserve owns the most in totality. Watch this though. If they don't pay it, but they gotta increase the limit. So watch this. Between 1960 and 2022, the debt ceiling has been raised 68 times. 68 times. Between 1853 was the only time America wasn't in debt. Andrew Jackson paid all the debt off. From 1854 to now, America has accumulated debt, and it's increased. So what has to happen now is the two parties now have to negotiate on a deal. That's what's going on right now. They got to negotiate on a deal to what it's going to take to increase that debt. Now, watch this. The only person, watch this, y'all. Let me show y'all how, when I said the system failed us, the only person that can come in and save America is the Fed. The Fed is the only person that can come in and save America. It's written in the bylaws of America that if ever in a financial catastrophe, the Federal Reserve can buy U.S. debt. Now check this out, Trap. I thought you said America couldn't buy no more debt. They can't. Guess what? Guess what? Newsflash. The Fed is not a part of the U.S. government. The Federal Reserve is not a part of the U.S. government. It is a different entity. There's 6 families that own the Federal Reserve, and they receive dividends from everything that America makes. The Fed is separate. So the Fed can step in, print money for America, but then that will grow as well. So now what you'll see is, you will see sometimes on the market when you see the Fed is not printing money no more, or the Fed is emptying stuff off its balance sheets. What that means is the Fed is now cashing in on some of its money.